Coming to you with a hour of power, standing in for my brother in arms, Captain Jerubbaal. Give everybody the opportunity to come on in. Everybody the opportunity to come on in. Let's take a second. And it's your football. Getting everybody the opportunity to come on in before we get started. Putin at it again. He said he ready to go to war. He ain't care about nothing Ukraine don't talk about. He said he ain't trying to hear none of it. I cut on the news. I had to watch the international. Had to watch the allergy news, which y'all know what the one I'm talking about. Allergies, call it the allergy news. But they gonna keep it 100 on the allergy news, man. They gonna show everything to us. Over here, they be trying to be sensitive. They just talk a bit, man. Just load up the other screen here. Got that one loaded up. Baba Kushaj, y'all come on in, hit that like, share, subscribe, and get into class this evening. Shalom, shalom. Aqua, Kel, good to see you. Good to see you, sis. Just getting everybody a couple more moments to come on in before we get class started. All right. Pray everybody we had a blessed day today. Y'all survived. We made it through Black Friday without getting sold. And all praise to the Most High for making Black Friday and Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of these holidays that served less and less eventful, right? All they've been doing is complaining. Oh, the Target made me stand outside for a bag with nothing in it. Good, all praises. That's what you get. You camping out there in tents and all types of stuff for what? A bunch of stuff they got from the front around the register that they ain't need. They said they had Uno cards in them bags. None of it, right? Give it one more minute. I don't know. I pray everybody had a blessed day, man. It's been kind of cold out here in Texas. Been a little cold out here. I don't know. I guess that's supposed to be funny or something. I don't know. That's supposed to be funny. Shalom, shalom. Straight Gate 144. Good to see you. But that's cool though. A lot of people got to deal with every vain word, you know. Get on here and they don't really understand. But that's what tonight's class is about, right? Placed in a position of patience. Shalom, shalom, Zakamanta. Good to see you. Good to see you, man. As y'all come on in, Baba Kusha, hit that like, share and subscribe, man. Hit that like button on the way in so we can get this algorithm around the world. I'm going to go ahead and get started, right? Name of this week's class, Shalom. Mother Mariah, good to see you, sis. Place in a position of patience, man. Place in a position of patience. The more and more we have to endure, the more and more as time progresses, as we grow in this truth, trying to endure to the end. One thing that I had to learn and ask for, and the Most High has increased our praises, is patience, right? Man, can't really do nothing about that, bro. Let's see, hoodoo, one piece of dead skin. I got it. Man, grab your Bibles out if you got them out, because we're going to go into patience, man. We got to have patience with one another. Because a lot of times we lose patience with our people, right? Shalom. Megan Israel, good to see you, man. Shalom, King, good to see you, right? So, I put that, what's the name on there? They get chaps, they made me a little chap. All praises. Right, we're going in. We're going to start out in the book of Sirach. Good to see all of y'all. We're going to start out in the book of Sirach. We're going to Sirach chapter 20, verse 32. Right? It says, necessarily, patience, right, in seeking the Lord is better than he that leadeth his life without a God. Right? But we're going to break this down a little bit. It says, necessarily, patience. Right? Necessarily, patience. We have to understand why we need patience. Because a lot of times if we don't utilize patience, we'll go out here and get ourselves killed. The judgment of the Most High be right on you. And it don't have to be a physical death. You can go out there and get killed on your job. Now you lost it. You can go out there and kill a relationship, right? Or an opportunity or a privilege. We have to be wiser and utilize the patience. The same way we ask the Lord to be patient with us when we constantly sinning, right? Constantly doing, thus say we ain't doing, thus say the Lord, right? We have to have necessary, so I'm going to break this scripture down. It's going to be like a tenderism. So we're going to go into necessarily patience. Let's get some understanding. Let's get some precepts in patience itself. Sirach 5 and 11. It says, be swift to hear, because it takes patience to be swift to hear. A lot of people answer or respond to a situation, they're listening to respond. They're not listening to say, okay, you know what? I didn't take that into consideration. You know what? I didn't even know that's how you felt. Because a lot of times we're not swift to hear. Even though the Lord gave us 2 ears. If hearing wasn't important, then we wouldn't have 2 ears. We just have one, right? But even though we have one nose, we got 2 nostrils. Even when one nostril stopped up or you congested, the other one may allow you to breathe a little bit, right? We gotta have patience, because if we don't utilize the patience, we're gonna miss the opportunity that the Lord placed in front of us. Every day you should be wanting to grow in this truth, in this walk, right? Earning back your opportunity of salvation should be a growing situation, right? No different than a woman growing out her hair, right? Or someone growing a garden, someone wanting to grow to get taller for whatever reason. You know, children want to get taller. That way they ain't got to tippy toe at the stove or go in the refrigerator or reach something in the closet. Gotta have patience, because nothing comes overnight. The easiest thing that comes overnight is failure. Failure doesn't require patience, right? It doesn't require patience. It requires focus. You can focus on failure. That might be another class. Focus on failure. I like that. Write that down. All praises to the Most High. All right? Focus on failure. Because you can focus right on failure and miss out on your opportunities, right? Not being able to take a rebuke, right? From the Lord. When you read the scriptures and you see, dang, that's me. That's the opportunity to fix it. Right there, when you realize that that's what it is. This is why you have to be swift to hear. You have to hear what the scriptures are telling you, right? And then it says, and let life be sincere. We have to be sincere about trying to make sure that we hear, we understand, we comprehend, then we implement, right? We got to be able to implement what we're actually hearing. So if you're going to be swift to hear, okay, I heard that. Okay, I get it, right? Then from there, it says we have to be sincere in life. You can't go out here faking it till you make it. When you go out here faking it till you make it, you get the same outcome that you're putting in. Life is going to be fake to you. You thought that you was going to get that position. You thought you was going to get that promotion on your job. You thought you was going to get that upgrade in life. You thought things were going to work out, but this is where you have to learn to have the patience. So when the Lord don't give it to you, it's not a reason to murmur or to spite your heart towards the Lord, right? When you don't get your way, you might spite your heart towards the Lord, right? That's you don't want to spite your heart towards the Lord. Because imagine, this is the reason why we had to sit in the wilderness for 40 years. Like no other. Good to see you, right? That's why because they had to get those who had that spiteful heart towards the Lord. The Lord was having patience because he could have just wiped us all out. Could have just wiped us out, but he said, no, I'm going to let the children make it. Because these other men, they're not getting it. These other women, they're not getting it. Let me just do a reset, right? So it says, be swift to hear and let life be sincere, and with patience give an answer. If thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. If not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth, right? It takes a lot of patience to be able to do that. If thou have understanding, the Lord may not give you the understanding right there, but if you have that patience through prayer, the Lord may increase that understanding. When I ask for wisdom, knowledge, discernment, understanding, comprehension, right? Edification. When I pray for these things constantly, I have to have patience, right? And then when the Lord opens that up, he said, oh man, I didn't even look at it like that. This is why you have to have that patience to give an answer, because you give the wrong kind of answer, right? You give the wrong answer. Like I said, a soft answer turn away wrath. You give the wrong answer, it creates wrath. A lot of wars start with the tongue, right? Just like when Nabal was out there, who's Jesse's son? Talking trash to David's mighty men. They could have went ahead and just did him in right there, just for disrespecting the king. But they had patience with him. And you already know Abigail had to have patience. She knew what kind of man she had married. That's the reason why she made haste to get things taken care of once she realized that mistake. We have to grow from the ancestors. They're not just characters in a book. Some people will look at them as. They're opportunities to actually grow. It's a little bit of water. One story might be some soil. One story might be a little bit more sunlight. But you're supposed to grow every time you read your scriptures, man. Every time you get an opportunity to open this Bible and comprehend and look at things, this is where you grow at, man. Right? It's a blessing to be able to grow in the truth, because some people are stagnant. They reach their ceiling, and then next thing you know, they transition out the truth. Now every doctrine is okay. Now you can do whatever you want to do. Now it's no consideration on what the judgment will be. That's a scary situation to fall into. When you're not afraid if the Lord going to kill you or one of your children or your husband or your wife based on your actions, man, that's a deadly game to play. Let's go over to James 1:19, right? Because we have to understand that if we're not being swift to hear, we're not showing the patience. If we're in class and we're not listening and we just, I got a precept, guess what? It may not be the precept that goes with that. James 1:19, it says, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not righteousness of God. So we have to be in a situation where it says, be swift to hear, slow to speak, right? Slow to wrath. This is where that Sirach 5:11 said, be swift to hear and let thy life be sincere, and with patience give an answer. Because if you're given a quick, swift to speak and slow to hear, you're going to end up in that wrath much quicker, right? Go to Proverbs 10:19. Stack it up. Let's stack it up. All right. Proverbs 10:19. See what that says. The book of Proverbs, chapter 10, verse 19. It says, in the multitude of words, there wanteth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise. Right? Because a lot of people, they're not slow to speak. They quick to, I wish it would. I wish this, or I say that, or this, that. And then guess what? You got to be careful. The Lord's like, okay, I honor that. Oh, you wish a nigga would? Here go a couple niggas to wish for. There you go. You wish a chick would? Here go a couple of them. Get yourself out of this. We have to be really, really careful, right? Because you jump up to verse 8, it says, the wise in heart will receive commandments. You know why? Because guess what? They're swift to hear. They're having the patience to understand that the Lord is building them up now. They're not missing that exit. You ever driving on the road, on the highway, and you're not paying attention, you miss your exit? You got to turn around. You know how frustrating that is? It's a waste of time. You got to go back, right? You have to be at a point, and then when you get that exit again, you realize, I ain't going to miss it this time, right? It says, a wise in heart will receive commandments, but a prating fool shall fall. You don't want to be a prating fool. You don't want to be a fool to somebody, right? Think about how many people were having Thanksgiving foolishly, not knowing that it was mocking them in their face for them to participate in that wicked ceremony, right? Knowing that what they were doing was wrong. But they don't care because guess what? A lot of those slaves didn't care. A lot of the slaves didn't care because these were the traditions of men, right? These were the traditions of men. Heard an Edomite say it right out his mouth when we went out there on Thanksgiving. And they said, do you think it's right to serve Thanksgiving? Oh, these are traditions. I bet it's a tradition, right? But they're not keeping up with that. You got to make sure that you are slow to speak and slow to wrath, that you are able to refrain your lips. That's what's wise, right? Just like Proverbs 10:19, it says, in the multitude of words, there wanteth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips are wise. You know why? He's slow to speak. He's swift to hear. He's having the patience that's necessary when we're seeking the Lord. That's why. Go over to Proverbs 21:23. Because we have to implement. A lot of times, we're not implementing the proper position, and we get placed in a position of patience, and we don't realize it. When the Lord's like, I'm going to test your patience. Let me see if this is going to upset you. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I'm going to see if you're going to give me praise or you being able to comprehend what you're actually going through at that point. And have an understanding and say, you know what? Thank you, Lord, for allowing me to experience that, to now grow from that. Because a lot of people don't thank the Lord for growth. They don't thank Him for the understanding. They don't thank Him for saying, hey, you know, I could have been in a worse position, but I wasn't. All praises to the Most High. I was able to be patient with that, right? Not sure if the chat has froze. I put a 1 in the chat. Don't know if y'all at work or whatnot. The chat may have froze, but we're going to keep the class going, right? Con, all praises, son. It wasn't frozen. All praises, right? The water. We're going over to Proverbs 21 and 23, and it reads, whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles, right? Keepeth his soul from trouble. As we were just reading in Proverbs 10 and 19, he that refrain his lips is wise. In Proverbs 21 and 23 is telling you, whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles. This, again, is wisdom. This is showing that, right? Shalom, Yapa, Tazalaya, Ariva, right? We have to make sure that we're not losing patience with what the Lord has given us. We have an opportunity to gain salvation, to earn the kingdom. But if we're not applying ourselves and we're not utilizing necessary patience, we may never see it. We may fizzle out. Right? You ever have an incense, you burn it, you come back, you look at it, no smoke coming off of it. It done fizzled out. You don't want to fizzle out, man, when it comes to the Lord. Jump over to chapter 13. We're going to stay in Proverbs. Go to 13 and 3. Because we have to look at patience of our mouth. We have to control it. Our thoughts, our words, our deeds need to be utilizing the patience, right? Your child may do something that requires a ass whooping right there. One may say, you know what? Have some patience, right? You come back, you decide to do it another day. That way it's a learning experience. A lot of times you do it when you're too angry. You may not gather anything, right? You gotta sometimes let them think. You don't get the electric chair as soon as you go to jail. They let you sit for a long time to ponder what you done did. Then they're like, all right, we're gonna let you chill or gas chamber you, right? A lot of them people they're on death row. So sometimes you gotta let that judgment simmer just a little bit, right? That way you can provide a focused judgment. Proverbs 13 and 3. He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life. So we went from he who basically is, let me go back. Slow to speak, slow to wrath, right? Patience. Swift to hear, sincere, patience. Necessary, patience. Now we're at a point where it says, he who keepeth his mouth and his tongue, right? We just left that one. Now we're looking at, if you keep your mouth, you keep your tongue, what's the outcome? 13 and 3 tells you, he that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life. But he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. That's going to be your outcome. And we just read about that in James 1 and 19. Right? It says, every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. Then we read about refrain his lips is wise. Then who keepeth his mouth and his tongue. And then now it's whoever keeps his mouth keeps his life. It's letting you know you need to have patience to know, you know what? Right now ain't the right time to say that. Lord, forgive me for thinking that. Help me to be a better person. This is the patience that we need with one another. This is coming back as a child. Having patience for your brother and sister. I was off with him. For what? Well, you could have had a little bit of patience. We want the Lord to have patience with us. Shalom, shalom, Aqua Barbie. Good to see you, sis. Right? Sirach, chapter 2. We're going to get 2 and 4. Right? Because a lot of times when we do something and we allow our mouth, our thoughts, our words, our deeds to get us in trouble, then we go through the ailment or go through the affliction or go through the judgment. Sirach 2 and 4. It says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, right? It's like Job 22 and 29. Take it cheerfully and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. You gotta be patient when you change to that lower state, right? Because if you're not patient, what are you starting to do? Murmuring, complaining, right? You want them fiery serpents that'll be dropped down, right? Get that first Maccabees 3 and 2 to go with that, right? It says, and I start at verse 1. Then his son Judas, called Maccabeus, rose up and his steed, and all his brethren helped him. So did all they that held with his father. And they fought with cheerfulness, the battle of Israel, right? So even though his father died, Judas' fathers died, right? They just went through lamenting for him. The men were kind of down at that point because Mattathias was a righteous Levite warrior, right? So as we just read in 2 and 4, it said here, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. They just lost a brother in arms. He lost a father. Somebody lost an uncle. They all lost that, but they took it cheerfully and still went and represented for Israel, right? They had the patience to stay focused, man, on the big picture. And so it says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. When you're sick and your nose congested, got to be patient till the Lord lift that off you. You got an injury, you got to be patient until it heal up. When it's raining outside, you got somewhere to go. You got to be patient. You can get to your vehicle, right? You got to be patient. When you waiting on that check to hit, got to be patient for it to clear, right? Got to be patient. Because if you're not operating patience, what are you doing? You're operating in haste, man. Go to Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. Right? It says, better is the end of a thing, because we just went through whatsoever is brought upon thee, take with patience, right? Better is the end of a thing. When you were sick and you're on the back end of that sickness, right? It's better then, right? It's a better time at that point. You're able to breathe at night. You're able to go to sleep. You're able to do it. You done prayed, Lord, please lift this off me. Lord, please get this off me. Now he's getting it off me. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning. As when you first start to get sick, you feel horrible. Oh, I don't feel like doing this. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, it's the worst feeling. You got to get up and do something. But again, better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. And the patience in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. A lot of times you can rush, not being patient, right into doing something that's foolish. And this is the necessary patience that we need to have when we're seeking the Lord. Oh, I don't know if he's going to come back. Yeah, he's going to come back. Then you get some judgment. Didn't you just get a blessing? Right? Didn't you just read about what your people went through? But nah, he ain't coming back. Okay, don't lose patience with the Lord, man. It's a sad thing to do when you lose patience with the Lord. You ask for that Lord to make sure he gives you more oil, man. Like the parable about those virgins, you got to ask for more oil. You don't want your candle burnt out. You want your flame to burn strong, man. It's so much wind of diversity right now trying to blow out the flame of so many people, man. We're in the mean season, bro. A lot of people don't make it through the mean season. You got to make sure that you make it through to that next Passover, and make it from that Passover to the next Day of Atonement. Make it from that atonement to that tabernacle. Tabernacle to dedication. Dedication back to Passover. You got to keep making it. You got to have the patience that the Lord is going to fight for you. He's going to lift you up to a higher estate, even when you brought to a very low estate. If you've never seen how a gold chain is made, go look at how a Cuban link is made and look at how the effort that they have to put into it. They got to heat the chain up. They got to melt the gold. They have to smith it, right? Then once they smith it, they burn it, and then they go from burning it, liquid. Now to get the liquid from it, they got to change that. Now they have to bend the links. And a lot of times when they're doing that twisting process to make a Cuban, it pops. Now they got to go solder it, put some more, got to get the whole process all over again. You see what I'm saying? Then they get to the point where they're filing it down to make the links flat. So they lock good. You see what I'm saying? The Most High got to do that to us. The Most High got to do that to us. Yeah, it's cool. Okay, yeah, I got gold, right? But this reminds me that the Lord is still working on it. This reminds me of at the end of the result, I want to be something strong, man. I want to be something beautiful in the eyes of the Lord based on me putting in good works. I have to remind myself, hey, you're a filthy rag. And when you sin, you're a filthy rag again. Sometimes they said a menstruous rag. That, you know what that is. You know what a menstruous rag is, right? Because like we just read, better the end of a thing than the beginning, right? Trust me, my sisters know what I'm talking about, right? Go over, because that patient spirit that we was talking about there in Ecclesiastes 7 and 8 says you want to have a patient spirit. You're just not indecisive. You're making the wrong decisions. Who you going to blame? You can't blame the Lord because you made that decision. You didn't have to do what you did, but a lot of times people they're not looking at that. What they looking at is, I went ahead and did. You lose that patience. Now you got a proud spirit. That's hard to get off of you. Now you don't want to walk around like Nabal now. You don't. Go to Proverbs 14. Right? Because patience, we gotta have a slow situation. Sometimes they said getting it over fast. Yeah, that's good. Slow and steady win the race. Right? Proverbs 4 and 29. It says, he that is slow to wrath is of great understanding. You know why? It's not gonna let him you're not gonna get me out my spirit. You gotta be slow to wrath. Yes, you're upset about something, but you want to take a slow path to get to that point. Not getting worked up, right? Because you want to be of great understanding. You get it, okay? It's not going to go my way. Oh, there's traffic. Oh, he just cut me off. Oh, she took the last one. Oh, she wasn't paying attention. He wasn't paying attention. He did this. He did that. Oh, you done spilled that. Patience is a virtue, right? But it says, he that is slow to wrath is of great understanding, but He that is hasty of spirit exalteth folly. Right? A lot of our people are dealing in great folly because they're not using necessary patience. Right? Let's run back to Sirach 20 and 32. Right? It says, necessary and patience seeking the Lord. Necessary and patience in seeking the Lord is better. Right? You know why? Go to Deuteronomy 4 and 29. Let's see why. Let's see why seeking the Lord is better, right? Because we need to know why, right? The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 29, it says, but if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him, if thou seek him with all thy heart and all thy soul. When thou art in tribulation, and all these things come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou turn to the Lord thy God and shalt be obedient unto his voice, right? For the Lord thy God is a merciful God. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he sware unto him. Don't you want that covenant? Don't you want to not be forgotten? Hey, I can't do that to him. Let me hold back that judgment on the city because one of my favorites are there. Because we're supposed to seek the Lord. That's what it says, necessary and patience, seeking the Lord is better. No, why? Because you're seeking him with all your heart, all your soul. So that way, you're not forgotten in the day of the Lord's judgment. Because tribulation is going to be coming. All these things come upon these, right? That's why Sirach 2 and 4 said, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient. You know why? Because when you seeking in the Lord with all your heart and all your soul, and that tribulation, all these things come upon you in these latter days, and you're obedient to the voice of the Lord is going to be merciful to you. He will not forsake you, nor neither destroy you, nor forget the covenant of the fathers which he swore unto them. Isn't that something that you're fighting for? Isn't that something that you're fighting for? Right? We gotta make sure that we're doing. That's why I said seeking the Lord is better. Right? Go to Psalms 119. Let's see why seeking the Lord is better. Let's see why seeking with all our heart and all our soul is so important, right? Because when we ask people, how do you love God? And love him all your heart and all your soul. How do you do that? How do you hold on to the Lord, man? Because he's moving fast and powerful. Psalms 119 and verse 2. Blessed are they that keep his testimonies and that seek him with the whole heart. Again, that's what I said. If you seek him with all thy heart, all thy soul, you're not going to be forgotten or destroyed in the day and the times of tribulations, and they're coming. We deal with them every day, man. That's nothing. It's a light thing, right? It's a light thing. That's why it says, blessed are they that keep the testimonies and that seek him. Don't you want to be blessed? Don't you want to seek him with their whole heart? Right? But you got to look at verse 3. Because it's cool to just say, oh, yeah, I'm a love him with all my heart. But verse 3 says, they also do no iniquity. They walk in his ways. Thou hast commanded us to keep thy precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways are directed to keep thy statutes. Then shall I not be ashamed when I have respect unto all thy commandments. But what Christianity going to teach you? You ain't got to do that. You ain't got to keep that. Don't worry about that. You can eat what you want to do. You can wear what you want to wear. So what if you make a dude lust after you because you got on pants? So what? He shouldn't have been looking. Nah, the Most High's gonna be like, you caused him to sin. Now I'm gonna get both of y'all. These companies that make women pants, I pray the Most High put the most vengeful affliction upon the makers, the designers, of those things that have our sisters out here thinking it's okay to wear something that will create lust in the eyes of a weak man. Some people don't deal with the addiction of gambling or alcoholism, right? Or abuse, right? Some people deal strongly with lust. Some people can't help to not lie. Some people deal with the spirit of lying tongue, right? Some people deal with the spirit of covetousness. They may not have a lust problem. They might not want to gamble or drink, but they're going to be covetous of everything they see, man. These different things affect us in so many different ways. The flesh, yes. Yes. And then just bleed just like us, because the flesh is weak. It's weak, man. But again, that's why it says, blessed are they that keep the testimonies and seek him, and they also do no iniquity. And they walk in his ways. But then the church going to say, oh, we ain't got to do that. You can go on and have that shrimp. You can go on and have that catfish. That's some good catfish there. That's some good eating. No, it ain't. Not in the eyes of the Lord. He hates that, right? He hates that. When y'all got that honey baked ham, or when y'all showing off all this food on social media, the Most High, he understands. That's why, guess what? Y'all don't save it to a SIM card. Y'all saving it in the cloud. Y'all showing the Most High, look at me. I'm in sin, and I'm proud of my sin. I'm so proud that I made a video about it. I'm so proud that I took pictures of it. What you think in the day of judgment, the Lord gonna have so much, he gonna have so much artillery in regards to saying what you done did wrong, it's gonna be out of control, right? I had a customer today, she's upset because she broke her contract. And they charged her like $800 for her device because she broke her contract with elsewhere, right? She didn't take heed to the warning. All through the notes, people told her what's gonna happen. She persisted telling me, I done paid off my device. I don't owe you nothing. I don't owe anything. I paid it off, right? But through examining and doing an audit, see that she was a liar. And you know what? After proving to her, hey, you didn't pay off your device, that was a down payment because your credit wasn't that good. That wasn't a payoff. You knew that you had to pay. They told you. You did what you wanted to do. Oh, that's sus. I said, ma'am, let me explain something. You signed it. Oh, you're telling me that, oh, well, I can tell you anything. You signed the contract. I said, ma'am, that's not what I'm saying, but that's what you did, right? She didn't have patience. She decided to go to another company. Guess what? They tore her account up for $800. She wanted it back. She seeked with tears for almost 2 hours on the phone. Nothing we can do. You're not getting the money back. Oh, that's kind of illegal. I said, so why did your bank let us take it? If it's so illegal, why did your bank let us take it? Because we were able to provide proof that through your lack of patience, we would be put in a better position. You thought you were just going to go up and leave, not pay your bill, and don't worry about it. Guess what? Thank you for the $800. And she was mad. I said, nothing you can do. Ain't nobody you can talk to. Ain't going nowhere, right? They're going to seek with tears, right? They're going to do that. Go over to 1 Chronicles 16, right? Go to 1 Chronicles 16, Baba Kusha. All right? 1 Chronicles, and we go into chapter 16. Because we can't be like the base people of this planet, man. The Most High has made us to be much higher, right? But we can't operate base and low, right? 1 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 11. It says, seek the Lord and his strength. seek his face continuously, remember his marvelous work that he have done, his wonders, and the judgments of the youth, right? O ye seed of Israel, his servant. We are his servants. It's another good servant precept right there. Ye children of Jacob, his chosen ones. Oh, but wait a minute. Christianity tell you that God loves everybody. We're all God's children. Well, guess what? Right here, right? Right here, it showed you in verse 13, O ye seed of Israel, his servant, shows that we are the servants. Ye children of Jacob, his chosen ones. He wanted us to remember his marvelous works, right? He wanted us to understand what he had done for us, the wonders and the judgments of his mouth. I will neither leave thee nor forsake thee. I got a covenant with Abraham. Abraham got the covenant down to Isaac. Isaac passed it to Jacob. Jacob passed it to the children of Israel. Here we are. If that's not patience, right there, I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't, right? But this is why seeking the Lord is better. Because when we're seeking him, like verse 11 said, seek the Lord and his strength. Seek his face continually. Remember his marvelous works that he have done, his wonders, and the judgments of his mouth. You gotta be doing that, but this takes patience to seek the Lord. That's why it says necessary patience in seeking the Lord is better, right? A lot of times people lose patience. It's too much for them. It's too much. It's too much. Go to the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah 29, right? Go to Jeremiah 29, Baba Kusha, right? That just means please, right? We're going to 29 and 13, right? The book of Jeremiah, chapter 29 and 13. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 12. Then shall ye call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. And ye shall seek me and find me, when ye shall search for me with all your heart. So as you can see in Deuteronomy 4:29, if thou seek him in all thy heart and with all thy soul, he's going to remember you through the calamity. He's going to remember you through the tribulation. He's not going to destroy you. It says, blessed are they that keep his testimonies, right? And seek him. Then Chronicles says, seek the Lord and his strength, because we have to. It takes strength to have mercy on somebody. When you got someone dead to rights, when you got them right there, you know you could have just like, okay, perfect example, David and Saul in the cave. It took patience and it took strength to say, I'm not going to do it. To have restraint. You see what I'm saying? Think about a dam holding back all that water. They have to make something of a high restraint. Or a thick chain on a large animal takes a large amount of restraint to keep those mugs in there. You go to the zoo, that glass that them gorillas be beating on, right? Or something that's holding a whale or a shark behind, that glass requires a strong amount of restraint. It's like a bulletproof glass, right? But the scriptures here is saying, and ye shall seek me and find me. Could you imagine when you couldn't find the Lord? Remember when we upset him? He said, I'm going to return to my place till we could put some respect on the Most High. So I'm not going to even deal with him right now. I still love him. I still hear him, but I'm going to have to let him go ahead and bump their heads as a nation and go through that, right? Y'all hit that like button, Baba Kushaj, y'all come on there. And it says, when ye shall search for me with all your hearts, and I will be found of you, saith the Lord, and I will turn away your captivity, and I will gather you from all the nations, and from all the places whither I have driven you, saith the Lord. But no, wait a minute. Christianity says, oh, I don't deal with the Jews anymore. Oh, I don't deal with the children of Israel anymore. But right here, he said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and gather you from all the nations and from the places whither I have driven you, saith the Lord, and I will bring you again into the place whence I caused you to be carried away captive. Right? We have to look at the patience that the Lord had with us to keep coming back dealing with us after we kept dropping the ball. Right? We kept dropping the ball. But guess what? The Lord said, seek me and you shall find me. Right? Seek me and you shall find me. You know why? Because let's look at what the scripture says. Sirach 20 and 32. Let's go back. Necessary patience in seeking the Lord is better. Better than what? Better than he that leadeth his life without a guide. Because if you're not doing that, you're out here flying blind. You're out here, it's like when you're driving, your windshield wipers don't work and you're driving through a storm. You can't see what you're doing. You can't see where you're going. Accident is preemptive at that point. It's coming. Go to Sirach chapter 37. Because at the end of the day, it says, necessary patience in seeking the Lord is better than he that leadeth his life without guidance. A lot of people lead themselves into destruction and lead themselves without the proper guidance, man. They don't want to take the rebuke. They don't want to listen to the understanding, and they're right back in trouble. They're a repeat offender of tribulation, right? We're going to the book of Sirach, chapter 37, and we're going to go straight to the point, verse 8. It says, beware. Oh, matter of fact, I'm gonna get verse 7. Yeah, I'm gonna get verse 7 and go down to verse 8. The book of Sirach, chapter 37, verse 7. Every counselor extolleth counsel, but there are some that counseleth for himself. Beware of a counselor and know before what need he have, for he will counsel for himself, lest he cast the lot upon thee. Because guess what? You have to know why you are in a situation. Leading yourself without a guide is giving yourself counsel. And where there's no counsel, there's bound to be a mistake. This is why it says, beware the counselor and know what need that counselor has when they try to come to you and give you counsel. You get some sisters that's okay with you sinning because they in sin. You get some brothers that's okay with the sin because guess what? They in the sin, right? You can see it on them. You can see it on them. And the Most High makes people live examples, right? I always pray that I'm an example of righteousness and what is need to be done when it comes to being an Israelite, right? Go over to Proverbs 11 and 14, because if you got to be aware of a counsel, then you got to be aware of counsel itself. Because if you ain't got no counsel in the picture, you out here just operating on autopilot, and you're not listening to thus say the Lord, guess what can happen? It could cost you your life. The book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 14, right? It says, when no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So you have to be in a situation where, number one, you know what the counselor needs before you even take counsel from them. Are they trying to steer you into destruction? Are they asking you to go against the law, statutes, and commandments? Are they telling you it's okay to sin and then try to double back on it? You got to be careful on who you're taking counsel from. If they're operating in sin, if they're turning a blind eye to sin, then that's not the person you need to listen to. But they're always the Most High going to always have you get tested. That's why scripture say, prove a friend. Most High had your friend lead you down the path of destruction. Now y'all both, it'd be like that video. Oh man, we in hell, gang. He done blicked us both down. He said, nah, I didn't go nowhere. He said, yeah, you did. Yeah, you went right there with me. We blicked us both down. He said, nah, you took me with you. I didn't want to go. Right? So we got to make sure we don't wake up. We in hell, gang. The Lord done smoked both us down. You don't want that, man. Con. Right? We have to look at that because we're not doing what the Most High. That's what I said. Where no counsel is, the people fail, man. It says, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Because some people don't care to watch you. They don't care if you're going to be sinning. Right? We're going to teach this kind of doctrine. Oh, no, never mind. We're going to change it up. So what happens to all those people that was just coming in the truth? Now you put them in a situation where they don't know who to believe. Now they go to another congregation and they're creating problems. You've now sowed a unrighteous seed into one of, you think the Most High not going to remember that? You think he ain't going to see that? I know I taught y'all one thing, but now I'm going to teach y'all something else. We got to be really careful, man. That's why it says you have to beware of a counselor and know before what need he have. Because some of these dudes some people want to get rich, man. They want to get rich. They want to be behind the scenes just counting your money up. Some people want to just be seen a man. They want to be, I'm the best, she's the best, we the best. Nah, man. We got to be careful because what they're doing at that point, where there's no counsel, they're just building themselves up on self-counsel, right? Sirach 6 and 2. Con. YouTube talent show. Con. The book of Sirach, chapter 6, verse 2. Exalt not thyself in the counsel of thy own heart, that thy soul be not torn in pieces as a bull string alone, man. We got to look at these things. We have to look at these things because if we're not, then what are we doing? Because if you're exalting yourself through the counsel of thy own heart, right? And then when something goes down, now you wild like a bull in a china shop, right? You can't get upset and get to acting crazy because you hyped yourself up, right? Go to chapter 32 and 19. We don't stay in Sirach. Go to 32 and 19, right? Because again, where no counsel is, people fail. Then it tells you, don't exalt yourself in counsel. Because where we're at right now, it says, seeking the Lord is better than he that leadeth his life without a guide. That guide is that counsel, that wisdom, that knowledge, that understanding. When you don't want to take that, when you don't want to apply that, guess what? All right, no problem. You don't want to apply that? Most High's like, man, look here. We just went from Sirach 6 and 2. Now we're going to Sirach 32 and 19 now. God. And what it says here, it says, do nothing without advice. So we went from beware the counselor and know before what need he have, right? Then to where no counsel is, people fail. Because that counselor might be giving you bad advice. Then it says, don't exalt yourself in the counsel of thy own heart. The heart is deceptively wicked. You will lie to yourself. A lot of these women go out here, know that outfit don't look right on them. They're going to wear it anyway. These dudes go out here, certain stuff on, know that don't look right. People go out here and they know that investor that they talking to, you know that dude, you just heard him lie to somebody else on the phone. Now guess what? You pop up. He gonna lie to you just like he lied to somebody else. Shalom, Aqua. Who that? Oh, Shalom, Officer Don. Good to see you, King. Shalaki. right? But it says, do nothing without advice. A lot of our people operate without advice. They don't pray on it. Lord, lead me in thy truth. Direct my path. They're not asking for none of that. I got this, Lord. Go right out there and wrap their life around a pole, man. Crazy, right? But the scripture says, do nothing without advice. And when thou hast once done, repeat not. So if you did it before, don't do it again. Learn from that. Learn from that. That's why it says necessary patience in seeking the Lord is better than he that leadeth his life without guidance. So when you make that mistake, let's say you go out there, you did something without advice. Don't do that again, right? Don't do it again. Go to Tobit chapter 4 and verse 18. Go to Tobit chapter 4, verse 18. Right? And it says, ask counsel of all that is wise, right? Going into these scriptures, reading these laws, statutes, and commandments, this is how you go in to get that counsel that's wise, right? It says, ask counsel of all that are wise, and despise not any counsel that is profitable. A lot of times our people, they despise that. They don't want to take that rebuke. Don't do that. Stay away from that. Can't wear that. Can't this, can't that. You can't act like a baby and be like, oh, I don't want to listen. Okay. You don't want to listen. Okay. You don't want to listen. No problem. Yeah, I'm going to get that Hebrews 6. I'm going to get it. I got a Hebrews 6 in here. Going back to Sirach 37 and 16. Because we just seen this. Look. Ask counsel of all that are wise, and despise not any counsel that's profitable. A lot of people do that. You in the spirit. Yeah, that Hebrews 6, right? Go to Sirach 37 and 16. Go on over there. Baba Kusha. Sirach 37 and 16, and it reads, let reason go before every enterprise, and counsel before every action. Because guess what? This is how you operate, avoiding leading your life without a God. Because you're bewaring the counselor, you know what his needs is, so you don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. You understand that when there's no counsel involved, the people are guaranteed to fail. Look back at every time where the children of Israel didn't take counsel and tried to go do something on their own and how that turned out, right? This is how we learn. We learn from our ancestors, right? We learn, and it says, exalt not thyself in the counsel of thy own heart. You can't take matters into your own hand. Think about when Saul was dealing with Samuel. And he said, tomorrow we're going to go put up a offering to the Lord. We're going to go do this. Samuel get there, guess what? Saul already did it. He took counsel of his own heart. Samuel got all over him. He's like, man, well, yeah, nah, because I told you not to do it. You did it anyway. Right? Then it says here in Sirach 32 and 19, do nothing without advice. Saul didn't take that advice. He didn't take the advice of Samuel. Did it on his own, right? That's why Tobit 4 and 18 says, ask counsel of all that are wise, right? So when we go into these scriptures, we ask the Most High to reveal and to edify, to help us grow. When we're doing this, like Tobit 4 and 18, asking counsel of all that's wise, we're actually asking that counsel when we're applying it. Because now we realize, hey, Tobit was wise. So you know what? He asked for counsel that was wise. So guess what? I'm going to do that. And I'm not going to despise any counsel that's profitable. Just because I didn't think of it or I don't agree with it, I'm not going to just deny it because of that. You're throwing out the baby with the bathwater when you do that, right? But again, that's what Sirach 37 and 16 says what it says, right? Let reason go before every enterprise, and the counsel before every action. Because if we're not doing that, we just lying to ourselves. Now we're gonna get that Hebrews 6, but we're getting that Hebrews 6 and 15. I don't know if that was the verse you were looking for, but I got that Hebrews 6 and 15, right? And it reads, and so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. So after doing that, right? After letting reason go before the enterprise and the counsel before every action, Hebrews 6 and 15 says, and so after he had patiently endured by letting that reason go before the enterprise and taking the counsel, not refusing the good counsel or the profitable counsel, not listening to the counsel of your own heart, right? Not doing that either. We have to look at, that's what it says, do nothing without advice. Don't exalt thyself in counsel of thy own heart, right? What's this? All right. So again, Hebrews 6 and 15, I'll just stay on task. And so after he had patiently endured, right? All that counsel, all that patience, all that seeking the Lord, right? After all of that, it says after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise, right? The promise, never leave you nor forsake you. Going over to Romans 9 and chapter 4, we see all the things that we were going to attain for being patient, right? We have to look at for what it really states. We know what it is, right? I'm going to get that Romans 9 anyway. But I love to read that. We got to look at what we're working for through the patience of the Lord, right? But some people believe that you can just do however you want to do it, right? The book of Romans, chapter 9, I'll start at verse 3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren. That's Ezekiel 11 and 15. It says, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of God and the promises, who are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Christ came, who is over all, God bless forever. Amen. So we have to look at that and say, hey, you want to endure so you could attain the promise that the Most High has given us through the covenant for the children of Israel. He didn't make covenants with the rest of the world, right? So Christ says, I love not the world, man. He didn't pray for the world either. He only came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He already had a job. That's a big enough job. But guess what? They think everybody can go. It's okay. When you get there and you see your heathen counterparts with the white gloves on, and you're like, why are they giving me gloves? It's time to get to work. It's time to get to work, right? Shalom, shalom. All right. Now I'm going to get James 5 and 8. This is my last precept. Going to wrap this up, right? Barakai, good to see you, officer, right? They're going to have on them white gloves at white glove service. Yes, sir. Would you like some more of your holy nectar? Yes, I would. Pour up everybody's. So it'll be a great feast, right? Everybody getting the glass, right? Everybody getting it. That food better be hot when it gets to the table. Everybody in the back gonna get a lash or get lashes if you don't get it there. And I don't care if my table is 100 feet long. Everybody better enjoy their food. If I look down there and I don't see the glee and joyfulness on the face, going in the back, everybody getting lashes, man. All praises to the Most High. All praises, man. Most High had to put patience. He had to place me in a position of patience, man. Especially this week. Hey, we got to grow from what the Lord give us, man. A lot of times you be writing in class, you don't know why you're writing it. Then guess what? Something happened, you're like, oh, okay, this why. We're going to the book of James 5 and 8, right? Then we're going to get us a law. The book of James, chapter 5, verse 8. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 7, and I'm going to read down. It says, be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and have long patience for it, until he receive the early and the latter rain. Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. Grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door. Take, my brethren, the prophets who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for example, of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy. Right? Yeah, shout out. We have to make sure we're patient, establish our hearts. The Most High is sending his son back. Yahweh is, man, look here. Could you imagine opening your front door and it's a lion just ready to just get you, or you open your door and it's a big, an anaconda cobra. You couldn't even imagine seeing no anaconda cobra. And it's right there looking you right in the face with the little tongue just right in your face. You ain't gonna be able to move. You're gonna freeze up. Might knock down that whole front door. That's how quick the Lord, Yahweh, is gonna be right over us when that judgment comes. It's gonna be just as a snake bite. Fast as lightning strikes, man. I look at it and it comes every time. Man, there's a lot of sodomite going on, bro. A lot of sodomites going on, bro. Here, the battle axes of the Most High. Nah, see, that's the thing. Esau is lying about something. Always lying. We already know it's Capt, what he's saying. That's why you get on at the end with the foolishness, right? A lot of people be saying the foolishness stuff. And I'm going to tell you something. Every vain word, he ain't got to time them out. When the Lord times them out, he going to need every pill that they offer on the ads on YouTube to make that thing work again. The Most High going to go ahead and take the life out of that, right? Because I already know Esau, they don't have any life force in their body. So their children are very special needs, right? We'll be polite and say special needs, man. Here the battle axes, we say keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, man. And get a law, right? And get a law. We'll let the Lord bring judgment upon his body, man. Every vain word. So he can say that all he wants. When the Most High takes the life force from the thing that he's trying to brag about, when we're out here bringing out the law, statutes, and commandments, when he takes the life force out of that, not a pill, not a procedure, right? Not any of that stuff. It's going to bring back the ability of that, right? His whole nation is limp, right? They're not going to have the ability to stand tall in the day of battle against the Most High and his son Yahweh. The Most High's not even getting off his throne. Yahweh going to make waste of it, man. All praises for the alms, the prayers that are sent in. All praises. I hope y'all are getting ready. Feast of Dedications is coming up in probably about less than 2 weeks, man. Pray I see a lot of y'all in the building. All right? Just looking for a law, and we're going to get up out of here. All right? Let's see here. Because we can't be worshipers of self. All right? I'm going to go with Deuteronomy chapter 23 and 21 to end this out. Right? All praises, y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like, share, subscribe. The book of Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 21. When thou shalt vow a vow unto the Lord thy God, thou shalt not slack to pay it. For the Lord thy God will surely require it of thee, and it would be sin in thee. But if thou shalt forbear to vow, it shall be no sin in thee. That which is gone out from thy lips thou shalt keep, perform, even a freewill offering, according as thou hast vowed unto the Lord thy God, which thou hast promised with thy mouth. So when they say these things out their mouth, and they cause themselves to just alter that, we're putting a spiritual offering of obedience and attention to the Lord when his word is coming out. And you get a heathen that comes on there and they want to throw a uncircumcised thought into the chat to try to be distracted for things of that nature. Just know the Most High has remembered that. And in that day of affliction and judgment, he said he's going to save and protect and preserve us, not them. Right? Their time is really, really short. So with that, I am Officer Ehud Banya Sharala, the Battle Axes of the Most High. This has been another hour of power. That's it, man. Y'all keep these commandments and live. Call halal Yahweh Bahashem Humashak Yahweh Shah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Barakatah Yasharala. Barakatah Akim Wa Akwatim Shemai Yapalal. Right? Barakatah. Everyone watching, everyone in the chat, y'all have a blessed week, man. I pray this was edifying for y'all just as much as it feels edifying for me. I'll praise to the Most High for the opportunity to feed the sheep as the Most High commands. I'll see y'all on Friday, Most High willing, for Fervent Friday. And y'all have a blessed week, man. Shalom.